Become a member to help out the YouTube channel. Hello, I am D-Man, and today I'll be ranking all of the Shantae characters. Well, most of the important ones anyways. If I ranked literally every character, I think I'd be here for a while. So I'm just gonna rank the most important ones on a tier list here. At the top, we have Spectacular Superstars, and at the bottom, F. You suck. Go away. Shoo shoo. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get right into it with the main character, Shantae. Wow. That's the name of the franchise. Wow. Believe it or not, the main character is not in the F tier. I would put them probably right near the top. I mean, again, main characters, so naturally there's going to be a lot of focus, and for a protagonist, I think they do a pretty good job. You've got all the qualities of a good protagonist, endearing, certainly never gives up, just a very kind-hearted person all around, but, of course, what I like is that, no, Shantae is not perfect. She's definitely a little bit temperamental sometimes, and I honestly, a lot of the scenes I really like with Shantae is when she just like loses her patience with someone, like maybe with Bolo or like with the Squid Baron. There's just points where like Shantae's just like, stop, seriously, I don't want to deal with your fucking shit right now, and that's kind of fun to see. It's kind of fun to see that banter sometimes with this character. But of course, at the end of the day, this is, the protagonist. So, yeah, she's definitely determined to help people whenever she can. And even if her approach might not always be the best approach, I mean, hey, that's what makes it more interesting at the end of the day, doesn't it? And that's why she's right at the top of the list so far. Alright, next we got Shantae's relic hunting uncle Mimic. I like this dude. I'm gonna go for A, I'm gonna say. I don't think he's pretty much old man tinker. He likes to tinker with things. He likes to, he likes to dig for relics and stuff, and and he's essentially the parental figure for Shantae, considering Shantae's parents are just poof, nowhere to be seen. And so Mimic here is that parental role, and I think, I do like his interactions with Shantae. He's clearly does care about Shantae. There's some hints that he might have been like some sort of warrior or something in the past. This guy, I think, has more than he lets on. I think there's some interesting stuff that can be explored with Mimic. And I suppose, yeah, another thing is just, yeah, he is a likable character, endearing. It's cool to see the kind of stuff that he, the inventions and stuff he comes up with. Most of them are there to just try and better the lives of Shantae and, I guess, Scuttletown as a whole. And that's nice. Next up we have Bolo. Ooh, okay. This is tricky. I do like Bolo. He definitely gets the short end of the stick in terms of like, yeah, he does not get treated the best. Because Bolo's not especially bright. I would put him in S, I think. I think he gets low S to me. He definitely has a lot of moments I think that are funny. And it's always nice to see him interact with like Shantae or Sky or Rojops or like Risky. Like, he constantly gets shit on, but like, at the same time, you feel bad for him sometimes, and then like other times you understand why. because he's generally not super competent. He's not incompetent. He does have a few moments where he's not useless or anything. But yeah, let's just say his eyes tend to wander a lot. I think one example I remember is in the Friends to the End DLC, where they're talking about the Giga Mermaid boss, and Sky and Rotops go like, "Hey, what do you know about this mermaid?" And all Bolo can talk about is, yeah, she had some hair, and like she's wearing these shells, and that's it. Like he was just like, he just looked at her basically. Shells, basically looked at her tits, looked at her hair, and was like, "That's good enough for me." And that's kind of Bolo in a nutshell, isn't he? He's very just in his own head, I suppose. But he isn't also unlikable either. That there's a fine line there. I wouldn't say Bolo is like a pervert or anything. No. But there is that fine line. Bolo does manage to make it on the fine line, so good for him. Alright, next up we've got Sky. Okay. Sort of someone that Shantae looks up to, like one of her other friends. Sky is very much wanting to be mature. She wants to be mature, get away from her parents, and I mean, when you do see her parents, you can understand why. But Sky also has... She tends to have these... I don't know if, bitchy's not the right word I'm looking for, but I guess that's the word that's in my mind right now. She just has these moments where it's like, well, that's a bit of a dick move, Sky, I'm thinking in, I remember the first game where she's like, oh, Shantae is still protecting that fucking shithole Scuttletown, or most infamously in Seven Sirens, where she doesn't do anything for a while. I thought Sky was fine in Seven Sirens, but I think they definitely amped up that more selfish side of Sky, which I think a lot of other people didn't like. I thought it was fine, but I can see why someone would not like that. And yeah, she tends to just be like this, someone to get advice, to get some guidance, but the Sky's words are not always necessarily the best words, and of course that's what makes her interesting. But at the same time, she also is not as interesting as some of the other characters. I'd probably put her in A tier, I think. I think above Mimic. The one other thing I've noticed, it took me until after Seven Sirens, where Sky definitely has a thing for older men. That is just a thing I have noticed, because you've got Pepper McMahon stash, and you got the Armor Baron, and I don't know how old Barracuda Joe is, but there just tends to be a bit of a pattern I've noticed, and I guess that makes sense considering Sky's sort of whole thing of wanting to be mature, and also yes, the whole thing with the warbirds and the eggs. That's cool too. That is something to make Sky stand out. Speaking of birds, we've got Sky's pet bird, Wrench. It's a bird. It can't do that much. There are some funny moments. I think you got the first game where, when you try it in the second labyrinth, he literally uses himself as a wrench to open the door, and that's kind of funny. And then there's, I think in Risk is Revenge, he does something else. You don't see it, but yeah, it's just kind of funny that, yeah, his name, he is quite literally a wrench. But otherwise, it's a bird. You can only have and you can't make a character that can't talk that interesting most of the time. Um, Alright, okay, Roddy Tops. I think they do a lot with Roddy Tops, don't they? Because you have brothers, you have the whole that like there's a lot that they do right with Roddy Tops. I think I actually am gonna put a above Bolo. I think because we sort of know the most about Roddy Tops's backstory. We've seen her human form. We sort of see why she acts the way she does, you know. She feels sort of undervalued. You know, everyone's afraid of her, you know, and Shantae's that one person that isn't afraid, and so Roddy Tops tends to latch very heavily onto Shantae. And that isn't even like, you know, you've got the whole thing in Risk His Revenge where but she betrays Shantae basically, and that's just, you know, that's another layer of that's like interesting there. Like, you know, Roddy Tops isn't a bad person, but she's definitely mischievous. And of course, that mischievousness also does result in her being pretty funny pretty often as well. So yeah, I guess she's my favorite of Shantae's friends. Now let's move on to her brothers Abner and Poe. Abner, I quite like this guy actually. I'm gonna go A tier. I'm gonna go just below Mimic. I think this is essentially like an older brother to Roddy Tops. He is someone to basically sort of reel her in a little bit, not make her go like. Basically, when Abner's there, Roddy Tops just can't go crazy. But Abner's still a little bit. He's a little bit rough on the edges, you know, and that makes him more interesting, really. You know, he also betrays Shantae. You know, his way of apologizing is very like he doesn't really want to do it, but he knows he has to. You know, he's very much like he wants to be that protective figure to Roddy Tops, and so yeah, acts a bit distant sometimes. But you know, he means well most of the time. Okay, and then we have Poe. I don't think Poe's quite as interesting. He's what is there to say about Poe? He is also, you know, a brother to Roddy Tops. I guess he's a bit more like a nerdish, I guess I would say. He's a bit more like a nerd. You know, if Abner was the jock, Poe's like the nerd, I guess. But ultimately there just isn't as much for me personally to latch onto here. I don't really have enough to say. I think he's fine, but yeah. There we go. Alright. Next is the mayor. Mayor Scuttlebutt of Scuttletown. Oh, okay, this guy is funny, but oh man, he is frustrating. I'm gonna go low B. This guy is pretty dumb. And you know, Bolo is dumb. Sometimes he has his dumb moments, but they never feel like super consequential. You know, most of the time Bolo does something dumb. You know, Shantae is just like, who cares? It's Bolo. The mayor's the mayor, so it's sort of, you know, when he does something dumb, there tends to be quite a few consequences, and I don't find, yeah, the mayor doesn't really get any karma. You know, he fires Shantae like 2 or 3 times. Like, that's crazy to think about, but yeah, he is funny, but he can also be kind of frustrating at times. Next up here we have the main antagonist, Risky Boots. I think Risky Boots is my favorite character. I think I think she's more interesting than Shantae. My only sort of issue I have with Risky Boots, not Roddy Tops, Risky Boots, is that I wish I knew more about her backstory. She feels a little underutilized, and of course, Pirate's Curse definitely helps in this regard. We learn a lot more about Risky's past, about the Pirate Master, and everything. You know, I guess, yeah, with Risky Boots, there's just a lot of mystery, you know. Why is Risky Boots the way she is? And of course, Shantae keeps trying to, like, Shantae sees this, like, hint of good, and so keeps trying to redeem her, but I don't think Risky Boots is redeemable. I don't think so. I don't think Risky is incapable of good moments, but Risky is very much like narcissistic, and there's definitely like a hint of like sadism as well. There's a few moments where like I remember the first game where she just threatens to straight up like cut Shantae out, and she's particularly violent about it as well. Yeah, Risky definitely has some violent tendencies as well. It makes sense, she is ruthless, she is a villain. Of course, so it makes sense. But of course, you know, you sort of wonder, you know, why is she evil? Is it she is possessed by dark magic, so is that playing a part, or is Risky Boots just naturally just a fucking bitch, you know? And of course, you know, she does lose a lot, so that, you know, her being so evil often means she gets punished for it, which is good. Probably not enough, let's be real, but it's fine. Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's just the thing, like, yeah, the whole dynamic with Shantae and Risky Boots is just such an interesting dynamic, you know? You know, Risky Boots is basically pure evil with, like, maybe this like, slight hint of goodness, maybe. Whereas Shantae's pretty much all good with this little hint of, like, you know, hot-headedness or just impatience. I wouldn't really say selfish, but you know, it's the contrast between these two characters is probably my favorite part of the stories and the sort of the dialogue and everything in general. So, I mean, that makes sense. Pirate's Curse has my favorite story. It focuses on these two. It also looks like the new Shantae game might also focus on these two. I hope it does. I look forward to knowing more about both of these characters' backstories, because again, we also, surprisingly, Shantae, we know her mum's a genie, and she's in the genie realm, and her dad is gone. The dad might be the warrior character in like the Lost Souls, but that's a maybe, and that's a big maybe too. Yeah. Anyways, enough about Shantae. Yeah, Risky Boots. I think she is my favorite character. And next we have Risky Boots' Tinkerbats. They don't talk. Well, they do talk, but they only... You as the player never understand what they're saying. Like, it seems like only Risky Boots understands what the Tinkerbats say, and like the Tinkerbats themselves, I imagine, know what they say. They're basically just the one, and you know, they're just the clone army for Risky Boots. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's one or two moments where they have a couple of like funny visual gags or whatever. They tend to be. I feel like they tend to be like a little dumb sometimes, and so that's kind of funny, you know. I'm thinking of like in Seven Sirens, you know, Risky Boots puts out all this TNT, and then the Tinkerbats just sit there. Or in Shantae Advance, Risky Boots tells the speeder, like, don't let anyone press the button, and then immediately afterwards you kill them and you press the button to change the land. They have a couple of funny moments in that regard. I don't want to be here all day, so let's move on to the character that shall not be named. Uh, okay, I will say the name. Holly Lingerbean is like one of the few new characters in Half Genie Hero. That probably the only new character that's not just like an NPC. She feels underutilized. Holly is interesting in theory. She is like a soul or something, like a spirit, like 100 years old spirit who was once the most popular person in Tasseldown. Maybe. Holly is just a complete narcissist, like to the absolute extreme. It's all about Holly. Her entire thing is literally she wants people to just remember her. She is an attention seeker to the absolute maximum. It's all about her. It's about no one else. And yeah, the whole idea, you know, she steals people's memories and everything. And yeah, the whole idea is interesting. But she's only important for that one part in Half Genie Hero. She's not a main antagonist, or like, you know, she just doesn't look like. There's not a point where she's like working with Risky Boots, or is just like, or like Holly Lingerbean comes back or anything. There's none of that, which is unfortunate because I think there's some potential, but I will go B tier above the Tinkerbats, but below Poe. Above Poe. Actually. Okay, now we're getting to some fun. We're getting to the Barons, and first up we've got the Squid Baron. Definitely seems like the fan favorite Baron. He is the Squid Baron. Basically, he's pretty much just the comedic bad guy, sort of, you know. He is the character that is constantly breaking the fourth wall, and he is basically, he is delivering the jokes, and he's also, part of the joke is he's a lot of fourth wall breaks, and he just keeps returning as a boss, the same boss, every time. He is quite good, but I don't think he is as good as a lot of the as these characters, because I think sometimes they just do a little bit too much with him. I mean, I get why, but I mean, he is in, you know, 4 of the games, you know, and 7. I'm actually kind of glad in 7 times you don't fight him. It's like I would have been fine with it, but I like the joke more that like you don't fight him and he's pissed off about it. But it does feel like I do like this guy, but it does feel like they maybe use him just a little too much sometimes. And of course, you know, he can sometimes, you know, get in the way of things. You know, at the end of the day, Squid Baron's not a good person. He is, he's certainly a character, and he's certainly an entertaining character, and that's what matters at the end of the day. Alright, next up we've got the Ammo Baron. Alright. This might be my hot take, I think. I'm gonna put him above this. This is my favorite Baron, I think. I probably put him above Bolo. I really like this guy. He's a great secondary antagonist. You know, this guy is there's a macho douchebag. He's just a douchebag. He wants to just take things over. He definitely has a way with words. Kabloosh, blammy, whatever. But I just like the way he interacts with a lot of other people, you know, because the Ammo Baron's not afraid to say what's on his mind, and a lot of the time what he says on his mind is, "Damn, you look fine as hell, girl. Come with me and let's watch some musicals. We'll watch Aladdin." He literally does say this, by the way. I'm not. That's not a joke. He does. He tries to pull off that move with Sky and Roddy Tops. That and I remember there's a bit with Shantae as well when you first meet him in Risk Is Revenge. He's like, "Oh, I've got this. You know, I got this. You know, you seem pretty competent actually. You know, want to join my army." Which is something like I like that he's not like a misogynist or anything. You know, I don't think he is. He sees Shantae and he sees like, "Ooh, you got potential. Join my army." You know, right away. Of course, maybe part of that is, "Oh wow, she looks hot. Let's see if I can try and," because you know, there's a bit where he's like, "Oh, you know, we got these open showers," and Shantae's just like, "No, fuck off." Like basically, she's just like, "Fuck off. I'm not joining. No, hell no." Now, I guess that's sort of the good thing with the Armor Baron. He never really wins. So he just ends up being like just this entertaining secondary antagonist, and of course, you know, he's not as used as much as well, so as like the Squid Baron. So I don't feel like he's overused or anything. So yeah, there you go, Ammo Baron and S. Next we have the Hypno Baron. It's not a ton for this guy. He's basically just kind of evil. He's just like, Mwahaha. He's basically that sort of evil. But he's not a super interesting evil, isn't he? I'm gonna put him above Wrench, but yeah. I feel like his best moments are with Squid Baron in Half Genie Hero. He has some funny stuff there. But I think otherwise there's not a ton. This is just one of the Barons. Well, I would like to know more about this guy, but you know, we got to focus on some of the other characters first, I think. All right, next up we've got the Techno Baron. Now this guy's a little fucking gremlin. I did kind of like this guy actually. He is just a little gremlin. I will put him above Abner, but below Mimic. Yeah, that feels right. Yeah, this guy is just a little... He makes technology, and he's just a little gremlin guy. He's just entertaining. He's basically the sort of evil that is like, he's just fun. It's just, whenever Techno's on screen, it's just a fun time, you know? Yeah, you got like Half Genie Hero where he tries to, use the sell-off counterfeit mermaids, or in Pirate's Curse where he tries to sell, he sells the stuff to Ammo Baron, and then you just fucking blow him up, and he just dies. Yeah, I like Techno Baron. And finally, we've got the Armor Baron, the brother to Ammo Baron, and I do like this guy, actually. Now, at first, you meet him, he seems like a good... the contrast, basically, the opposite of the Ammo Baron's a douche. This guy's a bit of a gentleman. And Ammo Baron's a bad guy, he's a good guy. But later on you find out, no, the Armor Baron is also a piece of shit. But he's just a piece of shit in a different way. Whereas the Armor Baron is very just bombastic about it. He's very just out there with it. The Armor Baron is a lot more sort of quietly manipulative, a bit more of a schemer, and I do like when you catch him out, he's just super pathetic. I'm not putting him in S, by the way. I think he is probably A tier, below Techno. He is certainly interesting. I certainly would like to know more. I hope in the next game they have those two. They definitely need to do that. Where they have the Ammo Baron and the Armor Baron interact, and it's just like, oh, that would be fun. Okay, and that's sort of a lot of the... Okay, we're getting to some randos now. It's the fucking save guy. This is the guy... Every game, it's the same guy. Or maybe it's just a million save guys. or it's, the one save guy and you just teleport or something, but it's the save guy where he asks, would you like to save your progress, blah blah blah. Um, it's the save guy, I'll put him above the mayor. um, I did watch a video or something, though, where it was like, it was a prototype version of Risky's Revenge, and the save guy says something different, and yeah, you should just. I don't know if I want to say it because he says some outrageous shit. I think it'd be more fun if you just try and find that yourself. Try and see what the save guy says to Shantae in a prototype of Risky's Revenge. Yeah, that is just. It's just crazy. Okay, anyways, next up we've got Barracuda Joe, sort of one of, Ammo Baron's, like, employees or something, I guess. This guy works for the Ammo Baron, and, this is an NPC, I guess, but he's definitely one of the more interesting ones, and he's also he's in 2 of the games, so it kinda counts for something. Yeah, I'll put him next to, actually, hold on, let me put him above Sky, actually. There we go, much better. Actually, I'm gonna put him above Sky and Mimic, but, this guy's just endearing. He's very endearing. He works for the the Ammo Baron, but he's definitely not a bad guy. Yeah, he's just super chill. I like in Pirate's Curse when him and Sky very temporarily hook up, and then immediately after he is resurrected because he dies, he's just like, you know what, I'm breaking up with you, Sky, and I do like that because Sky's just like, come back here, you piece of shit. And the whole thing, and the whole, Risky's Revenge is very endearing too. You get the whole scene where, like, Shantae maybe tries to kiss him? I don't... It's, the joke is that Shantae... In the text box, it says, Shantae kiss, and then the, Barracuda's like, why are you just saying the word? Like, if you're gonna kiss me, do it, and then Shantae just says it, so I don't know if Shantae was just, like, fucking with him, or if video game logic just prevented her from doing so, but that's quite funny. I like how he's not even mad, but he's just like, what are you trying to do? Yeah, just a fun character. Oh, and speaking of some more fun characters, we got Twitch and Vinegar. This is Vinegar. I had to remember for a second, because they're basically a duo. You see him in Pirate's Curse, go for a swim, in the pool of water, in quotation marks. Then later you find out they work for the Ammo Baron too. I like that they're just kind of like accomplices to the Ammo Barons. They're not super interesting. I'll probably put them both. Sure. That will do. I'll probably just put them both there. Nah, that doesn't feel right. I'll go here, actually. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I'm kind of curious about what their relation to the Ammo Baron is. Like, I know they work for him, but, like, is the Ammo Baron, like, like, what's he doing? Why are they working with the Ammo Baron? Maybe Twitch and Infinity are actually into the Ammo Baron, and maybe the Ammo Baron's having some fun every once in a while. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll stop. Let's just move on. It's the Squidsmith. Okay, this is just an NPC, at this point. Um, ooh, yeah, it's a cute looking NPC. So, I mean, I mean, she doesn't do much. She's an NPC, but it is funny to watch be like, she's very enthusiastic about melting those heart squids down. Probably there. I'd probably put it there. This is another NPC, in Half Genie Hero. Suki, I think? Uh, now we're getting to the point where I'm like, I just don't know what the... She's fine. Like, there's nothing... Uh, Chef Girl! Um, she is... And you got a dog. Her dog is not here, but, yeah, her whole thing with Wobble Belt. This chef chick might be a little crazy. I like when you interact with her and she's like, "Oh, do you have my dog back?" I remember I said no, and yeah, she just went on this huge rant, well, not rant, but just this spiel of like, "Oh, everything's doomed," and yeah, this chick's a bit crazy actually. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, Branson. This guy, okay, I like this guy. He is in Pirates because he's one of the. He's also an NPC. Very much a He-Man, parody. Um, that's right. That's right. I heard something about like the creator of He-Man like passed away recently. Yeah. Anyways, this I like Branson. I will put him above the... Yes, that feels right to me. There we go. Next, it's another NPC. This is the person. It's like the guard to like the Lost Souls area, basically. He's fine. There's a lot of bees, believe it or not. Most you know. What do I say? Okay, Giga Mermaid. Okay, I see a lot of praise for this character. It's purely for the design. I think people like this character just because, oh, she's got ginormous tits, and while you know what, that is a bonus, you gotta have a character too. The Giga Mermaid is not, there's no character. She doesn't do, you know, there's nothing, she doesn't say anything, so, put her above, like, she doesn't say anything, like, boobs are not enough, believe it or not. Next, we've got the mayor of Arena Town. This guy is fine. I like him more than the the mayor of Mayor Scuttlebutt. It just seems like he's basically just like a bit of a nervous wreck the whole time. Not very confident with himself, and well, I know why, but I'm gonna put him. This is a bit of like an actual character at this point. Probably there. That feels good. Okay, now we're getting to the other half genies. This is Plink. She's the one she's like the seer one. She's cute. There's not, you know, I do like these half genies. I do want to see them return in the next game. Plink is alright. I think she's endearing. Probably, ooh. Yes, that feels good. This is Vera. Sort of similar. Now, she does have... Interesting, we do actually see her dad. That's kind of interesting. I want to know what her dad's backstory is, since, like, all the genies in this world are gone, so, yeah. I like her. She's fine. Vera's fine. Uh, but not as interesting as... I think Plink's a little bit more... Plink stands out a bit more. Next we got Zapple. Okay, she's a bit more... She doesn't trust people, basically. She's very sort of like... She's hard to get along with. Which is, that is sort of, that's kind of interesting. And of course she is probably working for the Armored Baron, which is interesting as well. I'd probably like her the most out of the half genies, other than, of course, Harmony, who's definitely the most interesting. I would put her, ooh, better than Mimic. How high up does she go, actually? Does she go in S tier? Not quite. Not quite. I'm going to put her there for now, I think, in A tier. She is certainly interesting. She's definitely the most interesting. The oldest of the half genies she has. She's definitely very, much a leader type. Which is interesting, because, like, basically, Harmony feels like she feels like she would be, like, the main protagonist in this franchise, but, whereas Shantae's, like, a side character, but, no, Shantae is the protagonist, of course. But it feels like whenever Harmony's on the screen, it's almost like, wow, she very much gives off, protagonist energy, but is not the protagonist. She's just a side character, and that is more interesting than if she was the protagonist. That's what that was confusing, but that's what I was, hopefully that came across well enough. Yeah, she's basically, Harmony's basically the cool, chill, leader type. Definitely someone that Shantae sort of immediately looks up to. And yeah, it seems like, yeah, there's definitely a lot of interesting things with Harmony. Of course, Harmony has the whole scrapbook as well, so she definitely... There's a lot of mystery with Harmony, and you know what? Harmony, she's got that aura. She's got that aura in her. And finally, of course, we've got, fill in the blank. How do I rate this character? I guess? I don't know if you know, but yeah, I'll leave her there, I think. Okay, now we're getting to the sirens. It's the water lily siren. Okay. This Mayor and B, this Mayor Scuttlebutt and B is looking more and more wrong as it goes. As I'm looking through, I'm gonna fix that, I think. But drag you down to C. Yeah, at least, yeah, there we go. That feels a bit better. More interesting than a nothing. More interesting than the save guy. Not as interesting as Squidsmith. I mean, the sirens, you don't learn a ton about them. You basically get that bit of dialogue with them. And the water lily siren is just, she's a plant-based siren. That's kind of it from what I remember. The coral siren, she's got that cool machine. I like how she's just trying to clean up. I like how she's just trying to clean up the place that she's in. I forget the place. And she's like, I've spent like 20 years trying to clean this shit up. All the sand, the sand, I hated it. It's coarse and rough and it gets everywhere. There we go. This one is the tube worm siren. Damn, her design. Anyways, not super memorable, to be honest. How did the chef get this low? This is the fun part with doing a tier list, like, you look at it, you're like, you do it as you go along, like, that feels right, and then you look at the final result and you're like, what the hell's going on? You do not, better than... Yeah, from did I like misplace the chef or something? Like, come on, she's pretty good. I like her. Not as interesting as the save guy. Yeah, that feels right. Anglerfish. I actually I did like this one actually. I liked Anglerfish Siren. Put her above. Yeah, that feels good. Now we have the Octo Siren, the radical babe chilling in the brain juice. She was just like, yeah, I kind of, I had to remember her for a second. Now I do. I'm like, she's kind of funny actually. Just, yeah. Called Shantae a Bay, which is something. I still like the anglerfish more, I think. There we go. And then, of course, let's actually talk about the Empress Siren. First of all, damn she bad. Of course, we're talking about like her reformed form. Not the. I mean, I guess would I smash both forms? Because you got like the old form or whatever. That is probably not. Probably not. Anyways, Empress Siren. She is interesting. I wish you sort of knew her. I sort of wish by the time we see her, I wish we sort of knew more about her. We don't really get to know a ton about the Empress Siren and why she's here, and you know how this all happened. Yeah, so like I do like the Empress Siren, but I wish she was more interesting. I mean, she is still interesting just because she is the main siren of the sirens. And of course she does have the most, like, she's the one with the most, like, dialogue and everything. Yeah, she also, Empress Siren just seems like, you know, evil for evil, you know, wish I knew more. I'd probably go slightly below. I like Angler Siren more. And then we got the Lobster Siren. Lobster Girl. It's, she is cute, and that's about it. She sort of has the thing where, she's sort of like the Tinkerbats, where, like, the audience, the player, don't understand her, really. Shantae seems to, but, I'll basically go, like, this. There we go. Alright, next we've got... Okay. I made this joke in the last Shantae video, but I'll make it again. YouTube. This is Nega Shantae. I didn't say the N-word, okay? Anyways. Nega Shantae is, basically the evil version of Shantae. That is what this is. She is not as interesting as Shantae. Nega Shantae is basically just another pure evil character. I mean, the only thing that's super interesting is that she is the evil version of Shantae. Which puts her, there. She's a perfectly fine villain. I actually do like her. I do like her boss in Risk is Revenge a lot, actually. But yeah, character-wise, she's fine. The Pirate Master. Now, this guy's also sort of like another. This is evil for evil's sake, but this guy is a lot more interesting just because this is the character. This was Risky Boots' boss, former boss, and is pretty much the character to send all the genies away. Like, remember before when I said, like, Risky Boots is the main antagonist of the franchise? Well, I said that because she is the antagonist you fight by far the most. But really, this guy, the Pirate Master, this is the true main antagonist of the whole story. Which is funny because he's only in one game. But, yeah, this guy, I really want to know more about. And he is an S tier, I think, just because, yeah, this is the guy that is, I mean, he's the Pirate Master is the reason why the genies are in the genie realm. He might be the reason why, like, Shantae's dad is missing in action. You know, we don't know how Risky and the Pirate Master, like, I don't know, how did that all happen? This guy has so much potential. I mean, he's the main antagonist for the whole story. And of course, the whole build-up, you know, when you play the original Shantae game, to Risky's Revenge, to Pirate's Curse, it's a great build-up, and unlike the Empress Zone, where you don't really get to know a lot until the end, with the Pirate Master, you basically get Risky Boots, you get to learn a lot about him, sort of beforehand, and so you sort of know what to expect, but of course it's still a surprise to see him and everything. Yeah, I'm gonna put him in S tier. And then finally we have Patricia Wagon. This is not a Shantae character. This is from a different game from the same company. My Switch Force. I have played that, so I can't actually say my stuff. Patricia's fine. I mean, the Mighty Switch games are they're not really story based. They don't really have a story to them, really. So there's only so much. But a good protagonist, I suppose. We'll put her right there. And you think, okay, well that's it. You know, that's everything. Well, you might notice a few characters are missing here, specifically the ones from Shantae Advance. And so, really quickly, as this different tier list, it has a bunch of Shantae characters. I didn't use this one because there was missing, like, a couple of characters, like Barracuda Joe's not on here. But the worm enemy makes it, you know, here, the one-eyed worm enemy. But I will rank this sort of top row basically really quickly, because these are important characters, like the Sultana of Sultan, not Sultan, what am I talking about? Sequinland, where she probably crushed her husband to death while getting freaky. Because he died during their honeymoon, so I can only, and just for the record, the Sultana is big. So, yeah, that's, I think, what they were hinting at. She's fine, although, when I think about, like, Pirate's Curse, like, she's not in Pirate's Curse, but, like, she's still the one that's, like, reprimands, like, she's the one that, like, tries to cut Shantae's hair. Which is kind of fucked up, actually. Considering in Shantae Advance, you help her out, and you basically save her fucking kingdom, and that's how she repays you. But she's fine. What is this? Boris Holes. He's one of the relic hunters. I like Boris Holes. Boris. Why is he called that? He's an old guy. I like Boris. Now this is Pepper Peck's McMahon stash. This character is definitely not a man, as you can tell. This is basically the original Pepper Peck's McMahon stash got eaten to death by sharks, presumably, and then this random chick, basically took over this guy's identity, and is, yeah. So we don't know her actual name, so we just have to call her um Pepper Pex. And I am putting in A. She is not a very nice person at all. I quite like everything. I like this character quite a bit actually. Um, what is this guy? Cornelius Crust. Um, another old guy. I think I like Boris Holes more. And then we got the bosses, whatever. They're nothing too noteworthy. This guy gets a B. I like he doesn't even want to fight you. He it's just a misunderstanding. Like Shantae just misunderstands the situation and just beats the crap out of him for no reason. Just wanted to eat his cake. Um, this is the guy that runs the mine. Fine. He's like this is the guy that is doing the excursion for the kids or whatever. Um, actually, I'm putting him in C. This is the chick that's part of the cult. Cult leader. Um, get rid of their fleshy desires quite literally by melting their flesh down to the bone. That was quite funny actually, so I'll put her in A. The Bugkini squad, I don't remember their names individually. They are all fine. What's my preference? That is my... It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't really matter which one is better than the other. They're all pretty similar. And yeah, this also included the fucking statue. This is not a character, it's a statue. D tier. The Tinker Slug. Like, I'm just like, what are we doing at this point? Like, fucking, it's not a character. It's actually probably more than that. C tier. Wilbur the Worm. Super low B actually. Anything else? This is one of the NPCs from it's like the ghost lady. She was alright actually. Yeah. A Cacklebat. Just a more evil Tinkerbat. I like the design, I guess. Whatever the Tinkerbat was around there. And I'm pretty sure that's it. Otherwise, it's just, like, I've got to be honest, I really don't want to rank the fucking enemies. Like, do I really want to rank, like, the I know one enemy, I'll say, the Wetmen can go in fucking D. Screw it, you're not screw it, I mean, we're already here, like, what else? The mermaids, the mermaids mermaids are fine. This is the slime gal who, like, roars you. Fine. Almost want to put the fucking Wetman in F. I think the Wetman's not F tier. They're fine. Alright. I mean, there's a point where, like, I mean, we could keep going, ranking fucking random enemies. But, I think, you know what? I can see the timer. I might as well make the video an hour long, right? So, fuck it. We'll just keep ranking enemies. Bomb birds. I fucking hate these things. I think, you know, they're actually more annoying than the Wetman. Naga. Annoying in the first game, fine otherwise. Archers. I like the archers actually. I think they're interesting. Same as this enemy. They spank their ass for you, which is a bonus, I suppose. It's a plus. Is anything F tier? I haven't put anything in F tier yet. I've put the fucking statue. No, I don't think there's anything. There's like nothing that's F tier. All right. I think I've had my. I think I've done enough. Let's get back to the main tier list. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, these characters are mostly pretty interesting for the most part. They mostly feel a little underutilized, because at the end of the day, this is a video game, and so the story is not a priority. But yeah, there are a lot of interesting characters, a lot of fun characters, um, a lot of fan servicey characters. I don't worry, I noticed. But that is my ranking for the Shantae characters. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, and of course, I'll see you all next time.